DCarsonCPA MFC on the lines. Today we're going to cover burn rate. Now burn rate has to do with startup businesses. Whether you're starting an entrepreneurial business, a small enterprise, partnership, whatever it may be, burn rate is about your sufficiency of resources and your ability of resources to carry you to the point where you're going to pick up income, at least in terms as we're talking about it. Now today what you've got is two people starting a business. Two people get together, a man and a woman, decide they want to start an entity. It could be an entity of many shapes and forms. Could be a sole proprietor, or not a sole proprietorship, but a small business Schedule C. Could be a partnership, or they could decide to form a corporation, LLC, or other form of the business, which would be something to discuss somewhere else. When they come together, typically what will come with them is some assets, some money that they're going to bring in, some property, and then they're going to establish a relationship with the bank. With the bank, there might be some borrowing, there might be some loan lines in addition to contributed capital. The contributed capital might serve as assets to back a loan to get additional capital into the business. And basically we're going to have an entity growing here. We're going to have inventory, some purchase of goods or services which we hope to sell to the marketplace. And we will think about an office. Are we going to have a home office or a mobile office to start? Will we have a more formal office in a commercial real estate space? And basically these are some startup decisions, thinking about the entity that you're going to build up, how you're going to structure it, and where you're going to put it. When you start a business, you certainly have a balance sheet and an income statement. There won't be much of anything in the income statement, but you'll immediately be building up a balance sheet with these contributed properties into the entity and whatever banks, loans, and credit lines you might undertake here. Now, we jumped a point here because before getting to here, what you're going to do is put together a business plan. Business plan will think about your target market, where you're headed to, the goods and services, and the business plan will be a good exercise to draw together kind of the theoretical picture of what you'd like to do with this entity and where you suspect your money lines are. You'll run some lines on research. That's a point where we can help, and we can plot out lines to think about where your market is, best positioning. If you're in a retail location, that's things like foot traffic you want to study for best location, demographics, and things like that. When you get into this line over here, there's a couple things you want to think about too. You got some customer segments. Who will be your customers? Will they be industrial customers? Will you serve nonprofits and NGOs? Will you serve government? Will you serve individuals and families? Or some mix of all these customers, depending upon who you are, what you do, and what position you are in the economy. The benefit of our business model is we think about all of those points so we have something for everyone in respect to their target markets in those lines. Now, this is a simple and quick presentation. We're talking about burn rate. This is DCarsonCPA MFC on the lines. You can find us at DCarsonCPA on web. And the next thing up is, what is a burn rate? Well, burn rate is when you've contributed assets over here, you've contributed dollars and property into an entity and perhaps undertaken some loans. You've got human capital going in there, and you've basically got the lines of human capital, technology, the money that's going in, and then the intelligence that's going into a business, the strategy, the knowledge, the business plan for how to execute. When that's accomplished, you basically go into a position where you've set up the balance sheet as the start point, and then you're going to look at a P&L. You're going to have a couple levels of financial statements, forecast of income statements that will come off your business plan and think about where you're going to go with financials, and then you might have some real experience. So here what we're doing is we're setting up a time period stretching from month 1 to month 12 a year, and thinking about a P&L and what might happen. Now hopefully this is clear for you to come through, but we're thinking what might happen. You contribute these assets, you have a good plan over here, you know where you're going to go, but not everything takes off right away. So you start up, you're going to have some expense lines for your first 5 months. In this case, real small business we're talking about, maybe this is $5,000 a month. You're just getting yourself together. You're paying legal fees, you might be paying organizing cost. Again, you've probably handled that up here in the incorporation, which we can help you out with. But basically, you've got some startup costs. You're getting the lights together, you're getting marketing together, you're reaching out to the marketplace, stocking in some inventory. It may never take this long. In fact, 6 months is kind of a very long period on a window, but it's more a demonstrative point that you're starting something up. You're not necessarily going to have money right away. You might have a number of months. And so really, the revenue lines here are inappropriate. They probably have a few thousand in them. But just to keep it simple, we're saying that the point here is that you've got a couple months of expenses that outrun revenues. So revenues could be zero in these first couple months. Some things like accounting have a very long lead cycle. So we put in 6 months with not much really happening. You're running your expenses. Because of that, you're running a net loss in your income statement. That means you've spent more than you've earned. It's drawing down your bank, it's taking assets out of your entity, but within a reasonable degree, within the sales cycle in your business, it's to be anticipated that'll take you some time. And that's why if you are starting a small business, you may do well before you ever get to that point to officially start get the feelers out, start to get the marketing in place, rev up to it, and have some other methods to get income during these months, depending upon how much money you have to put in the line, and what specifically you're doing. But if you have that opportunity to keep the cash flows going while these cash flows are light, it's a good approach to undertake. Now, where we map into all this stuff is we can help you out with QuickBooks on the cloud, with Sage, with whatever you got, cloud-based accounting. We can help you out with strategic planning for your business plan. We can help you out set up a formation, figure out what's best for you, whether you want a partnership, a corporation, whatever it may be. All those things, indeed, we cover with accounting, tax, and financial skills. And then the last point is just to illustrate, burn rate's all about, you got a P&L, you start a business, it takes a period of time to realize revenue, or you have some revenues, they're very weak, but then they start to ramp up. In this model, at about month 7 and 8 here, we say, okay, at this rate of expense of $5,000 a month, or it could be $50,000, but just take whatever number it is, all of a sudden you're going to get your first sales. They come in month 7 and 8. You did a good job here, you ramped up, you got some good clients coming in, you got a fixed client, and they're coming in at $10,000 per month. So you got 7 and 8, $10,000. That's a little bit greater than your expenses of $5,000. You've been running up a deficit in your balance sheet. So basically that's when losses exceed revenues, and you need to pare that down. So in this period, when you got to month 6, looks like what you had was a net negative of $30,000. You were out $30,000 in seeking to build revenues. By the time you got to month 7, you got $10,000 in. That was $5,000 more than your expenses. So that brought the line down to 25, reduced your carrying loss. And the carrying loss is also your burn rate there. That's what you're spending as you go. And in this case, it would represent perhaps a few store employees, a little technology. This is really a small business, and the numbers are small more for illustration purpose than to be focused on. Then as you get to month 7 and 8, a little bit of the same traction. Looks like in months 9 and 10 you pick up a few thousand more in sales, and but you've also at month 9 and 10 realized that you needed more people, and the reason why you weren't getting sales here was you needed to tick it up a little bit. You need to spend a little more on sales and research. So now all of a sudden you've brought some people in to help you out on sales and research, which is an area that we can help you out on. Part of our business is about helping on the communication cycle for growth and awareness for new business, for entrepreneurs. We're very focused on ways to help. And then you start getting an uptick in the business. You got in months 9 and 10, you've got $12,000 coming in, you've got expenses of 10, and then in month 11 and 12, you got 15 coming in, then 20. So what happens is, once again, your expenses gone up. Looks like you doubled expenses because now you want to accelerate things, and that wouldn't typically happen that quickly, but in this case maybe you realized, hey, when I increase my expenses, I get a little more in sales. Or maybe you had a contract over here where they gave you favorable differential pricing for the start months you negotiated, but all of a sudden something ticked up here because you were kind of realizing, I'm not going to start to realize this level of money to support this service out until this point in time. So you were able to cap costs in here, hold it down, but now it's kicking in and your sales lines got to go up. Sales lines are going up. They're at 15, so the first period you contributed a little bit to that margin of loss. You went back the other way. And then in the next month, in month 12 at the end of the year, what happened was you broke even on sales and expenses, so now you froze that difference at 21. So in year 1 you had a burn rate of 21, carried a loss of 21,000. What happened was you needed to get spending a little bit more money on that business to get it started up. And in the first year in this particular business model, you lost some money. Now, a year is a pretty long period of time, so hopefully, I would hope that your success comes much earlier. I would hope that rather than a 12-month period to break even, which just means that your revenues meet your expenses, that somewhere about 6 months that can happen for you. And you really want to get as much to the beginning of the cycle as you can, because burn rate means you're spending money, means you're depleting bank assets, you're depleting cash, you're running out your lines of credits and loans over here. And this is something that we want to help with. We're set up in a position to work on the DCarsonCPA MFC lines for project and process engineering, to get you cost accounting models, to keep you efficient in this place, to do market research, help you figure out what you're doing here, get a business plan, help you out up front, sketch in some financials and different things you want to do, also help on the bank side of looking for capital and being more aware and more strategic with your business model. And then hopefully you're most aware of what's your burn rate going to be in your model. We'll help you model that out. As you get going with this, you want to realize your whole need is to get your burn rate to be lower, to break even quicker. So you want to try and right structure your business to meet that opportunity line. If you undercut the expenditures, it's always easy to start less, maybe go up a little more, but if you undercut it too much, you won't have the basic services and infrastructure which might keep you from reaching the growth. So it's kind of a difficult balance. It's not a perfect science, but we can use the tools that we do have, which are the tools of accounting and the understanding of economics, the understanding of people, power, potential, being the human capital assets with ingenuity and ability to help in your business, the cost of goods and services, cost of technology, and the opportunity to help your business get started off the ground. So this would work for pretty much every business model in a startup mode. This is some of the general factors. Obviously, there's many more details we hold in reserve for where we can help you out on real services. And this is just an overview to introduce. I'm Dean Carson. We work in the accounting, tax, financials, planning, and advisory lines to help your business out. We're very interested in the opportunities to work with entrepreneurial innovators looking for growth in the economy and financials. And there's plenty of lines for new businesses if you have the right ideas, if you're able to watch where supply and demand go and to think about your opportunity lines. There's a lot of things you can do, and it takes a little bit of a push and a dream to start, because you've also got to be someone who believes in yourself, someone who's going to push yourself. I'm Dean Carson. We hope to help you on the lines. This is DCarsonCPA MFC talking about the burn rate. Thank you.